Hey folks, Twisted Christian. Alright, so folks, I've been trying to go live over the last couple days, and for whatever reason, my setup is the same and my microphones are not working. So, you guys probably did notice that I was trying to go live a couple times and it didn't work out. So basically what I'm trying to do is trying to go live at least 2 or 3 times a week, interact with people who follow this channel, and also get into some other discussions that we cannot communicate back and forth on through just a regular video. All right, and then of course I want it to be, on RV day, I want to be able to be ready to be able to go live and to make sure that you guys people don't get deceived or make wrong decisions or bad decisions, right? Because there's going to be a lot of confusing information. And I'm going to get into a little bit about that here in just a moment. Okay, we see the Dow right now. It's 33,446. It just seems like, especially with the stocks that I hold, and I hold a variety of different stocks. Some are penny stocks, some are not penny stocks, some are supposed to be good stocks, but they seem to be trading sideways or they're down. And so the market right now is still trying to recover. And one of the biggest things, of course, is, this administration doesn't know how to handle any economy during a pandemic, right? They just want to put out all this bad news. They want to talk about a global tax they want to put in by the summer. They want to raise the corporate tax rates. And of course, Joe Biden did back down from that some. But the whole thing about it is that they are ready to tax and spend. And they don't want to wait for it to be over with, right? And so there's all these different tax things. If you make 200,000, 400,000 or above, all these things that they shouldn't have been doing, like him shutting off the oil during the pandemic, that was a big mistake, right? And so there's just all these mistakes that he is making right now concerning, in my opinion, concerning the stock market, right? It just seems like there's just bad news after bad news. And the media really likes to focus on all the bad parts of the economy. But one of the things I was trying to bring up during live, and this mainly deals with Russia. Now, it seems like, every time we get a new president, Russia seems to test the waters, right? They did it with Obama, they did it with Trump, and now they are doing it with Biden. So there are these, the Russian military is building up in certain areas. Here it says the satellite images show huge Russian military buildup in the Arctic. Right, it says here they're testing its newest weapons in a region freshly iced due to climate emergency in a bid to secure the northern coast and open up a key shipping route from Asia to Europe. All right, so they're testing weapons, but they're also building up too as well. And I'm going to show you another article. Okay, so now you know what's going on with Ukraine. There is a buildup near the border. So Russia for sure is testing the United States. They're testing Europe. Europe is in a crisis, right now. And so there's, with this whole buildup, it makes me wonder about, are we going to see a conflict before the Dinar RV? And I've talked about that in previous videos, where I was also looking at some of Kim Clement's prophecies and how there may be an attack somewhere in the Middle East or even on Israel. And it may concern those, right? And some people say, well, those are probably prophetic, for down the line. Well, I just think that there's going to be some type of major conflict that could lead to a massive drop in the Dow. So definitely we got to keep our eye on that. And those are going to be a war of words between the United States and Russia, now that we have a different president. In this article here, U.S. cites rising risk of Chinese move against Taiwan. So China is also too building up the military, as they've been doing for the last 20 years. They want to be the dominant global economic power, and they want to be in control of everything. So Taiwan is, they've been preparing on their own themselves. But this is something definitely to watch, because it may very well come to be where the Chinese just actually invade Taiwan and just take it over. And what are we going to do about it? What is the world going to do if China does do this? I think it would be stupid for them. I think they would they would be immediately sanctioned by everybody, at least mostly everybody in the world. But when you thirst for power and you thirst for resources, because this is a very strategic location for China if they were to own that, right, and control over the seas in that area. So we have that, right? And then the other thing, of course, we got to keep our eye on what's going on. There's a meeting with Iraq, U.S., and then you have the talks about Iran and the lifting of the sanctions. So we are also too looking for that, right? I do believe that there are certain signs to come before the Dinar RV, right? And I call this divine intel, and most of it comes from Kim Clement. We're looking for when things seem that they're at their worst. We're looking for a drop in the Dow, and we are also looking for some type of America being out of the hand of Iran, right? So those are the things that we are looking for to happen before a Dinar RV. And the central banking system doesn't want to change their system, but there's obviously going to be people in place that are going to make it happen. And at some point it will happen. I've even theorized that maybe the 20,000, when it closes out at 20,000, that it will trigger the Dinar RV. So all this stuff, all of it does remain to be seen, because everything I tell you is in theory, or I'm basing it off of prophetic words, or even my own thoughts or my own view of how things are going in the world. But one of the things that I do want to discuss, I do want to get back to it, because folks, I really haven't I don't check chat rooms, I don't check so much Dinar news as far as coming from certain sites, but there's just so much misinformation in the Dinar community, and really in the sense of when the Dinar happens, when the RV happens, there is a lot of misinformation, right? Because the only place that you can actually turn in currency right now, that is actual currency exchange. So anybody, any organization, group, or newsletter, or anything else puts out anything about when the Dinar RV happens and you're going to be given an 800 number, well, first of all, putting that information out there saying that there's going to be 800 numbers when there's already a process to exchange our currency, right? So they're telling you that there's going to be a special number, right? So to me, there is a lot of deception in that. And so you guys need to be careful of anybody who speaks about 800 numbers, right? Because who are these? What's the name of the organizations of the 800 numbers, right? They could tell you there's 800 numbers, but they're not telling you who they are, what are their credentials. Can you look them up on the internet, right? So they are giving you false information concerning that, right? Kind of like the prosperity packages, right? And the Saint Germain Trust. I'm seeing that again, and it's just a repeat of when I first 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, I got into this Dinar investment, right? So just going back and just reading some of the ridiculous things like here, and I understand, right? We talk about intel, right? And this intel is coming from people that it's their guy or it's their secret source or somebody on the inside, right? But none of these people are actually speaking. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. When it comes to these things, people have come and gone with their inside people. And there are people that even still to this day are saying they still have inside people. Well, you know what? If they have inside people, they need to reveal who they are. It's not a secret, because I can almost guarantee that most of their inside people they're either no people at all, right? It's some fictitious thing. So you guys will keep coming back when they keep giving dates and rates, right? Because that's the only thing that's keeping a lot of these people coming back. That's what kept me coming back until I began to say, you know what? Something ain't right here. And it just looking at this, right? Judy note, all sources are saying it's a go. The green light is pushed, although waiting for the one last stepping stone, which was the Saint Germain Trust release to be announced on Monday, the 5th of April. Oh, the deep state is already out of the way. Come on, it's a bunch of crap, right? Because we didn't hear, look, if the Saint Germain Trust already has trillions and trillions of dollars, why do they need the Dinar RV? Why not help the people now, right? There are people starving right now all over the world. And you're waiting for the Dinar RV. What for? If it's already a wealthy trust, right? And down below that, it says here, Tier 4B was set to be notified Monday morning the 4th and 5th of April, with redemption exchanges to begin Tuesday, April the 6th. Well, here we are on Wednesday. And guess what, folks? People are still wanting to know what's going on. They're like, they still are hanging on to these dates. And that's why I believe one of the reasons why Kim Clement gave his prophetic words, because of this kind of thing that is going on. He gave those words because of this garbage, right? And things aren't really bad, right? We haven't seen the economy crash. We haven't seen any kind of banking crash. We haven't seen, and a banking crash doesn't mean that necessarily that banks are going to go away. And there's a misconception. There's a misconception that the banks are just going to go away, and that's not the way it's going to work. Banks are a part of our society, right? They are banks. You have your neighborhood banks, you have your big banks, and we still need banks. So just here, just reading some more of this garbage, it reads like a fantasy story with some of these things, and that's one reason why I don't pay attention too much. But I know there are people that are listening to me. And I know just from comments and stuff that people I know who are my subscribers, sometimes every now and then you guys will post it to me, or you'll send it to me what these people are saying, and you're believing it as if it's going to happen. And then I don't think we're there. We're not there. And I've been saying for a while now that, hey, look, things are not at their worst yet. Now, during the pandemic, it almost did. I think we could have been pretty close. But there's still a lot of things that still have to occur in order for that to happen. And here was the one that was supposed to happen. Remember, the RV was supposed to happen. And of course, he says our military intel contacts at the World Court has still been working out unexpected issues overnight, with Kurdistan and Baghdad and DoD talking Iraq PM today, Tuesday, April 6th. To get into the GOI Gazette overnight, the newly passed HLC profit-sharing agreement with adjusted IQD rate for UST to be able to declare value date for IDQ and currencies in order to start us. Right? It's global and it's complicated. It's not as simple as some people assume. Info matches Bruce saying he's ready to be started once Iraq is in the Gazette, whether we can be seen or not by the West. Right? DOD needed to comply with the World Court requirements to start exchange its payouts. He said, "This bull crap, folks. It's all bull crap. We are not even close." And this is the kind of stuff we heard every single year for years and years and years, and it continued on. And it's just a fantasy story, right? And that's why people keep going back, because it brings you hope. It brings you hope on your one investment that you have, right? And you keep going back to read this ridiculous stuff. And I'm not saying everybody that's listening does this. I'm saying there are people that are. And just so you guys are prepared that when the Dinar RV hits, you're going to see a ton of this fake stuff, right? And it's going to deal with 800 numbers and giving your information out, right? Because you know what they're going to do? In order for you to receive your St. Germain trust, we need to have your bank account information, right? And you just deposited your dinars in your bank account. And now you're getting ready to give up your bank account information that has the dinars in it, and then they're going to steal your money, right? And there's going to be many ways. Some of you who do call an 800 number. How else, by calling a 1-800 number, right? That you're supposed to be able to get the good rate or to exchange your dinars, right? Right? Not go to a bank, but how would that actually work? Right? So you call them up and you say, okay, I want to exchange my dinars. Okay, go ahead and send us, and then the other person responds, okay, what's your, go ahead, give us your address. Let me get all your information, and then I'm going to give you our address, and then you're going to send your dinars in to us. And then you're about to lose all of your investment right then and there. And some people will do that, despite the warnings, despite the obvious deception. And by the way, folks, I don't know who these people are. I recognize some of the names and stuff like that, but I don't listen to any of these people. And then here we go again with the whole thing with the budget being published. We've heard that every year, folks. Every year. Every year we've heard that. So follow the soap opera. If that's what you like and that's what you like to do. And folks, and that's the whole thing. And we've already shown you, and there are other YouTubers that have already shown you over time about the dinar and the coming global reset. We've showed you news article after news article after news article. We've seen them make their moves. We've seen them we've seen them put in all the mechanics almost to make this happen, to make it work. Okay, and just like this, and now this is April 6th. So, and today's April 7th. Budget going to the president today and should be recorded in the Gazette tomorrow. Then we can have an RV. And then a person says a response after the president has signed it and it's listed in the Gazette. Then they will adjust the RI rate. And then the next comment was, we check out the Gazette tomorrow. Woohoo! Like they're all excited, right? Right? But we've been doing this every year. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So I don't pay attention to the budget. I'm not paying attention to any of that unless it forces the Central Bank of Iraq to change the rate, and they're not doing that. So as I just go through this, it's just just ridiculousness, and stop with the 800 numbers. And I think a lot of those people who do that are going to be, if these organizations publish 800 numbers and it's a scam and they've been warned, trust me, they will be liable for lawsuits too as well. Right? So if any of you guys get scammed because you did get an 800 number off of one of these sites, the organization is also going to be in legal trouble, because we already have laws in place to exchange currency, and they're telling you that you're going to have to do it a different way to exchange your currency. And a lot of people are going to be deceived, and I think a lot of people are actually going to end up taking their own lives because they trusted some of these people. We all have opinions. I'm just giving you my opinions from what I see. And I started this because of the same people that were doing what they are still doing now. I don't have any special contacts. I may have had some profound dreams and visions about the Dinar RV, but that does not make me an expert. But I compare what I saw in my visions, and then I compare what Kim Clement is saying. I compare what the news media is saying. I compare what the central banks and the Federal Reserve and all the elements that are needed in order for this global currency reset to take place. So I try to do everything, but just to simply say that I have a guy who works for the Central Bank of Iraq, or they work for the DOD, or they work for whoever, and to say that there's all this information, it's so easy to do it. And maybe I should just do it as a test run, right? I should just go into one of these chat rooms and pretend that I have all this information and share information that seems legit, and then come out and say, hey, look, see, I've been faking you guys. I might actually do that just to prove a point, but I don't want to waste my time. So, but yeah, we all have opinions on this thing. It's just like gold, right? Everybody has opinion on gold. There are so many different opinions on Bitcoin and everything else. And just to kind of provide you with an example, right? You look at Kitco, right? Kitco has a lot of news concerning crypto, gold, and precious metals. But when you actually go and look at there's all these different predictions from all these different experts. So all these people are experts in the stock market, they're experts on gold, they're experts on crypto, but they're all saying different things. Some people are saying the crypto market's going to take off. Some people are saying the crypto market's going to crash. Some people are saying that I've seen videos of people where they're talking about gold going up to 20,000, 10,000, or 5,000, right? Or staying right where it's at. There's tons of videos on people talking about experts 5 years ago that it was going to crash in the next year or two, and look where we still are. So just because somebody is an expert doesn't necessarily mean they're always right. And this is what we try to do, is we try to evaluate with our own understanding and just trying to figure all this out and put things in the right perspective, right? And then also to line it up with prophecy, right? Because most of us would not be here if Kim Clement had not prophesied about the dinar, right? I guarantee that most of us would not be here because of that. I think most of us would have said, you know what, this whole Nasara thing's been going on too long. So a lot of people have gotten out, right? I don't necessarily believe in Nasara. I don't believe in Nasara, but there's a lot of people that do. But to me, there's no evidence to support that. So that's why every year, just kind of like the same thing with a lot of the gurus, and they have to keep pushing it out. If you're getting intel from a guy and he's been wrong, right, whether they're making it up, they have to come up with an excuse. And we've seen that time and time again, right? And then eventually, when somebody's intel is so bad over time that people don't even pay attention to them anymore. But I also will say this. It is also up to the responsibility of those who do push out Dinar news not to publish information because they haven't learned themselves, right? Being deceived. And I shared a story where there was somebody that was doing that, right? And they were, they're getting on the Dinar news caps and all that stuff, right? They were on there. But they had created a fake news website, right? It's all about Iraq. And they came out and they said the Iraq dinar has revalued, and everybody, the whole dinar community was flipping out. But the guy came out and said it was a joke. He had been deceiving everybody from the very beginning as far as putting out fake intel news. And you still see it now. I think it's their responsibility too as well, because when this Dinar RV happens, folks, one of the first things you're going to have to do is you're going to have to stay calm and not make any mistakes. And the one thing that you are not going to do is call any kind of 800 number. You may go down to your local bank. They might, and I suspect that when this does happen, of course, they'll use the media to say, okay, this is what you need to do to exchange your dinars. They're not going to be giving you 800 numbers. So that does not make any sense at all whatsoever. So I needed to get all that out because, I think we are getting closer. You see things going on with the economy. You see the debt. You see all these underlying issues of the stock market. And we're just sitting here waiting for it to just simply fall apart. And in order for the global reset to happen, when things seem at their worst, when the world, everything just seems to be like, hey, this is the end, right? This is it, or close to it. That's when I believe that this is going to pop. And that mainly comes from the Kim Clement. I just wanted to put that out there and just let you guys know that this stuff is still going on, and there's going to be a lot of deception on RV Day and in the preceding days after that. Some people will be looking online, how do I exchange my dinars? And then one of these news sites puts out one of these fake 800 numbers, right? It's going to be in the first search. It's going to be the first thing they're going to see, and they're going to end up calling that number and losing the investment that they have. Anyways, folks, I thank you for listening. If you guys want to support this channel, the links are down below in the description. So again, thank you guys for listening. God bless. And with that being said, Twisted Christian out.